Hello, everyone. I'm Jean-Claude at BeyondMystic, and welcome to this very special report. Tonight, of course, another Siege of Ottawa convoy, Freedom Convoy, and special updates with my friend and co-host, Janine. You can find her work here at Sending Ravens on YouTube and also on Tarot by Janine. Janine, welcome back to the show.
Hi, Jean-Claude. Hi, everybody.
How's it going, Janine?
Oh, I'm in a really good mood today.
There's a lot going on, and I do apologize, folks. We are a little bit late, but there is breaking news, breaking reports, all of this hitting us 2 minutes before the live here, and Janine and I are trying to readjust, prepare the slide deck to bring you as much information as we can, but to also do it in a responsible manner. So some of the information we have is secondhand, cannot be verified, and we had to make a determination as to whether or not we would even discuss it, and then to decide how we were going to discuss it. So please do bear with us. Sometimes when we're a little bit late starting on these live streams here for these amazing special reports. So again, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. We will try to take some questions if we have time at the later end of the show. We have a lot to go through here to begin with. So Janine, do you want to start with the first email from one of your supporters, the Yahoo one, talking about some of the weird things that are happening in Ottawa now? So if you can read the email out loud without naming the person, explain where this is coming from, what the relationship is with this person, and then I'll ask you some questions here to try to guide the audience moving forward.
And I can see that this person also sent it to you as well. So you'll see it when you have a minute.
Okay.
Okay, so it says, hi, just saw this on, and it's a certain drop board. We'll just say that.
Okay.
A certain letter of the alphabet drop board. 11 Metcalfe Street, she underlines, in Ottawa. The police are setting up some kind of staging there. The building roof is on Google Earth. There is some kind of smaller building on the roof. The general feeling is they are setting up an alternative communication system that is not to be detected or couldn't be detected by scanners or other equipment. This means the bad guys are planning something possibly very big and very bad. We need to stay on this.
Okay, so unsubstantiated, we're having basically live reports here as we're going live. Now, in the last week or two, we have had a lot of subscribers send us videos of really suspicious activities from police officers entering the Bank of Canada and all these things. So this is one of them that falls into those realm. And what we could say here is maybe to ask the audience to help us and to have eyes on the prize here in Ottawa. Stay vigilant here, and please do report everything. Just in the last couple of days also, we've had some amazing truckers who were resolute and strong in pointing out the fact that there were some agents provocateurs trying to entice them to rush Parliament Hill. And of course, the truckers had nothing to do with that. It's a peaceful representation here on Parliament Hill. But at any rate, they did have the picture of this person who was trying to orchestrate that for them. So guys, again, stay vigilant here. We don't want to get caught in these crossfire games that the enemy might want to play. So let's ask some cards here, first of all. Well, actually, let me bring up this other piece here just right now. So let me see if I can bring that up on the screen. Just before we went live. So this was on the Freedom Convoy 2022 Instagram. They did a press conference there. It was live a couple of minutes ago, just as we were going live. And the gentleman was saying there too that they were getting reports now. So let me see if I can bring that up. I have a few notes here. So what they're hearing, so again, unsubstantiated, but what their report and their network of operatives are telling them is that maybe the military would be involved here, and they're setting up some locations where they would be processing truckers who were about to be arrested. The police, from what they hear, again here from this press conference, would be starting to arrest people tomorrow. So tomorrow meaning Thursday, and they were also hearing, again, not me and not Janine here, what it was said here on the press conference. They were hearing that perhaps JT himself had told the mayor of Ottawa that this needed to end by any necessary means before Saturday. So these are the reports we have now. On top of that, we have the email that Janine has just showed with us. So Janine, where do we start with there? First of all, can we read into the cards right now and see if, in fact, the powers that were are in fact now mounting some type of offensive. Let's start laying the groundwork there. We know they're not talking and they're refusing to send a negotiator. So we know they're not doing that. So, but what are they doing? Are they stalling, or are they in fact preparing some type of offensive here? What can the cards tell us? Yeah, Kate says, arrest them for what? Yeah, exactly. There was a court injunction the other day, and the judge said to the police officers that they had to return the gasoline and they had absolutely right to be there to protest. So yes, Kate, I agree with you, but yes, we have to keep our eye on this.
Okay. So they're using a unique tactic that spreads fear and puts a doubt in the truckers' minds. So it looks like they're actually trying to worry people and worry the truckers and get them. And even what that person sent, I mean, I don't know if I got a feeling they're putting things out there to get everybody scared. They're trying to scare them off. Okay, so there's an ace, and so they do have something planned, but it doesn't feel like it's as intense as what they're putting out there.
Okay.
Like, it doesn't feel like it has that, because we've got this 10. This is a facade. So they're really just putting out the facade. This card looks at, like, it looks a certain way, but it's not the way it looks. It's not how it appears. And then we've got this card and this card. It feels like they're putting it out there to try to scare these guys out of here.
Or scare also the protesters from coming and supporting. Sorry, the supporters to scare the supporters into not coming to Parliament Hill to support the truckers. Okay, that's interesting.
And this card was in the middle, so they're using various reports. So they're also going to use maybe truthers or drop boards or. Using these different tools to get the word out. So it doesn't feel like it's as dangerous as it being made out to be.
Well, that's interesting, because last Sunday night, you and I did the special emergency report because we were hearing about this raid that was about to take place on the convoy depot at Coventry Road. And that night you said, oh, again, it looks kind of a ruse. It kind of looks like a head fake. It doesn't look that serious. And of course, the next morning we had the convoy truckers showing video to show that really it was a big photo op. They didn't really do much. They did take a few things, but not even the right things, apparently. And so it was kind of like a wet firework, I guess, if you want to call it that. It wasn't really strong. So what we're saying here, perhaps right now, what the cards are saying is that these reports are in that same vein, that it appears to be a big facade here, trying to scare people away. Okay. Guys, there's so many things on my slide deck that I'm trying to put all this in an order that would make sense for all of you guys. And for me also, we're trying to decode this live, guys. So please bear with me here. So let's go back to the army. Last week, you and I reported from official sources. It was a spokesperson for the Ministry of Defense that was reporting to both the Ottawa police and to Justin Trudeau, who had alluded that maybe they would call in the military to help remove the truckers. But the military here in Canada was very quick to say there'll be none of that. We'll be not doing anything like that. So let's take a pulse here on the military. Has that changed? Okay. Are they now suddenly being forced by or coerced, or are they still in the same position where, in fact, they are not going to intervene here when it pertains to Canadians here who are asking for their rights to be heard in front of Parliament Hill?
They got all these strategies, but it's not being backed up by anything. Okay, so this card's in the middle. Who's got the strength or the power? The good news is they didn't strip away all of our rights in Canada. Like they've been working on it on the back channels for a really long time, but they weren't able to. There's pretty strong human rights here. Okay, so, but they've been, Trudeau's been, all of them have been, chipping away at them for years. So the thing is, it feels like the army is for the people. So that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's really interesting. They're 40 people and they're watching and waiting and they're keeping a close eye on things. But this is my good army card. So I'm thinking the army's the good guys. I'm thinking they're on the side of the good, which is us.
Right. Well, again, so let me just remind the audience here. I posted this a couple of days ago. This was the first reading, early edition of the National Post. In here, you'll see the quote here from the Ministry of Defense saying, "We'll do no such thing." So again, military telling Ottawa here and JT to find somebody else to evict the truckers. Okay, so that's interesting. Military is still on side. So I think that's probably a good sigh of relief for all the truckers who are out there now. Let's talk about these perhaps communication tactics on 11 Metcalf. So let's go back to this slide. If we can bring this one back up here. We had reports on Sunday night. The internet was choppy. As you know, I was trying to do a video with you. It was hard to call you even. It was very choppy. Now we heard reports. Carrie Cassidy put this out yesterday. I think I tweeted it, but it was, at least it's on her Telegram if you guys want to follow that. She had heard reports from her followers that the internet had in fact gone down for cell providers like Rogers and Bell. I believe it was on Tuesday night, so that if that makes sense. And that they were preparing to maybe do a type of media blackout over Ottawa so that no news can come out of Ottawa from at least the social media or alternative media perspective. So could it be that what the person emailing you about here has something to do with that? On one hand, a blackout of social media, are they setting up some types of jammers, or does it have to do with maybe blocking out Canadians here so that they don't know what's happening on Parliament Hill?
Okay, this is kind of funny. So they're trying to make it look like that, maybe. They're trying to. It's like this is this is a last resort, and this is our facade card again. So they could be doing. They could be doing that as a photo op to make it look like they're sabotaging potentially and get everybody scared again. Okay, so it comes from. So I personally, I think they don't really have a leg to stand on legally to boot these guys out of there, because this is a fair and balanced card. So they legally, I think they've been told maybe by, I don't know who, that they legally don't have a leg to stand on. I mean, if they don't have the army and judges are telling them to give the gasoline back, okay, because this card here was making a show. It was on the outcome. So the Three of Swords. So they're trying to get people to talk about. So swords are thoughts and words. So this card indicates there's a thought or a word comes between two people. Right? I think there's a famous Shakespeare play where everybody whispers, where this guy whispers in everybody's ear and gets everybody turned against each other. Ophelia, is it? I can't remember which one, but anyway, where some gossip gets spread around and then it turns everybody against each other and everything. I got a feeling that's what they're up to. So they're spreading word, but they don't really have anything left. They don't have the play. They don't have the ability.
So a big facade again, a Potemkin village, or, rubber tanks like in World War II. Okay, well, different tactic, but I see what your point. Okay, let's get into some of the politics here. And I want to caution the audience again. We had a little bit of flack for what we were talking about yesterday. It seems that some people were very excited that suddenly the Conservatives on Parliament Hill were suddenly very staunch, asking the Prime Minister to reverse all the mandates. So we saw interim leader Candice Bergen to that effect. And I noted that day that while she was saying that, in question period, everybody behind her were still wearing masks. So I'm like, well, if you guys are serious about this, why are you still playing the game? Yeah. And all of these politicians, every single one of them for the last 2 years, have been caught in public not wearing masks and then just putting it on when they knew cameras were there. And I'm not talking about any names in particular. You guys know, just go do your research. They've all done this at one time or another. Yeah. So if they are truly on the side here of removing all of these mandates, why are they still playing this game and this facade in Parliament Hill? That's my first question. Let's ask the cards. Are they really serious, or are they, the machine, the players that be, just repositioning maybe the chairs on the Titanic here? They're seeing that Trudeau's ship is sinking, and they want to maybe have another player come into place and save the day, just in order to be able to perpetuate the game all over again when it's said and done. What's going on with their tactics right now?
Interesting. Okay, so again, I'm getting a lot of these people that you're seeing made deals in the background. So we got deals made in the background, and they're playing out parts. So we might be watching a movie again, you guys. This part of the movie, right? So they're playing out parts. It's almost like, so they're going through all of the episodes of this movie or drama we're watching. Okay, because they've been working at this. They knew their lines from a long time ago. Like that card says, you've been working on it for a really long time, and they're doing a great job because probably a lot's at stake. Secrets about them that the Alliance has on them. Of course, a lot of them were sold out to the deep state. Definitely Mr. Trudeau there, right? Sold out a long time ago to the globalists, blah, 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 right? Then when the good guys came on board, which I believe they did about 1.5 years, maybe even up to 2 years, could have even been longer. Okay, about the time we saw, Mr. T, Canadian Mr. T, and his wife walking around with those ankle gadgets on, you know what I mean? There was footage of it. And then we haven't really seen the real guy since. We've seen a couple of different versions of him, the chubby faced version, there was a whole bunch of versions of, oh yeah, that's interesting.
Skull and Bones socks. This is
interesting.
JT himself. Yeah.
Yeah. So these guys are playing out roles. So it was time for them to do the flip. They're not even trying to get in power again. I don't even think that's on the board. That's not on the board. I don't think any of these guys are sticking around, and they know it. So that would be the political move. And so you'd assume that. So you can't, I don't think you could trust any of these guys. It's all the movie here. But we could look at both Candice and this Pierre fellow.
Pierre Polyev. Okay. Well, let's get into that. But before we do that, in the States right now, so listen, the liberals are supposedly in power in the States, the Democrats. They have the House, they have the Senate, but yet all of these liberal or Democratic candidates or office holders, a big percentage of them now are announcing that they're not seeking re-election. All of a sudden, when apparently they have all the power in the world. So what's going on there? They're not playing the game anymore. They're moving away. So there is something to what you just said here. It appears that perhaps those that are in the know right now are deciding to say, okay, I'm getting out of this before I get, I won't even say the word here. So, okay, let's get into Candice herself. She's our interim leader right now. Again, there were some reports of her wearing this owl bracelet, pendant, something people are referring to, of course, Bohemian Grove and some of those things. I don't know about that. I've never heard that she was actually attending those, but she's been in the circles of a lot of these players around the world. Let's just say it that way for now. How do you want to phrase the question for Candice?
On that note about the owl, okay, I love owls. And if you look around my house, you're going to find a few owls.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, like we can't lump all the imagery of something together. Lots of people love owls, and you know what I mean? But I'm not saying she isn't either. And it's good that people are paying attention to those things. That's good. Okay.
Well, and yes, you're absolutely right. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that because she was wearing it. I'm just saying that people had reported that to me. And you're right. At this point, we need to look at all of these symbols because, again, if you look at those boards, they've been telling us for a while now that their symbology would be their downfall, right? They can't help themselves. So how do you want to ask the question here for Candice?
Let's just look all around her intentions towards humanity.
Okay, that's very good.
Right?
Okay, sure.
We'll get her if she's bad.
Yeah.
Okay, she's been on both sides, and right now she's on the side of the good guys. So she's made deals and come over to the good guys' side. But she's been on both. She knows both sides of that fence. She was threatened. They brought info to her that they had on her. We've got the hermit in the past. Yeah, so she might have even been visited by wiser old souls, or maybe they chose her because this is in the past and she'd be a good one to put in a certain place. So she's playing a role and asked to be a spokesperson.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, there's a few people in the chat saying, I knew it. Okay. Yeah, again, we're just trying to decode here and try to understand what's happening, because here's the risk, folks, and this is why we're getting into this, and we'll show another video here, which is alluding to what Janine and I were saying last week. Hold on here. We are at a critical point, and when the players are changed to say, oh, this one is going to fix everything, we are at risk of being duped. Once again, we always get duped here. I admit I've been duped. We've all been duped. If you've never been duped here on this show, maybe you just don't know it yet. But the system here is very good at duping us and conning us. So we want to make sure here in this transition of power that we don't get duped again with the type of scenario where, hey, it's me, the new boss, same as the old boss, right? They've been doing that to us forever. Okay. Do we want to go to Pierre next, or do you want to do a follow-up on Candice? The reason this is important too, guys, we'll talk about the Cliff High's Webbot data also, which back in, I believe it was October or November, he was saying that an event would happen here in North America and it would spread like wildfire to end this around the planet. And this is very critical. This is why Ottawa is also very critical. We'll get into that here in the next segment. So let's look at Mr. Podiev. See if I can bring him up on the screen. He's also, you can find his last video here on the Freedom Convoy as well. This was him announcing that he would be running for the leadership position here. So let me see if I can bring that up. Janine, how do you want to phrase that question for Monsieur Podiev?
Same way. Let's see what is he bringing to humanity? Integrity. We'll get it all. We'll get it.
Okay.
Okay, hilarious. Also capitulated in the past already been brought over and made some kind of, they had stuff on him too. Very same cards in different positions here. Quite interesting. A spokesperson as well. Meant to come up right about now. Meant to, I think they're testing us to see if we'll just take whatever's offered. We are meant to question it. And didn't you bring up some really interesting photographs of him with some really interesting people?
People have been sending me that for a whole week since he announced all of his relationships with some of the bad guys. Now, I'm not saying he's a bad guy because he's taking pictures with them. Of course, people accuse Donald Trump of the same thing here. That's not what we're saying. But there are some connections there with some bad guys. Yeah.
He's made deals. He's made deals. He's hanging on to, He's trying to protect himself. That's a protection card by making deals. So they had something on him for him to do that. I don't know what, but like some hidden stuff here. Like speaking of owls, this card could be exactly that, right? Could be all about hidden mystical groups that you join that are private and secretive, and something that came up as him, and the other way you could read that is that isn't really him, because that card could be a passed over already card.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because I did get some emails saying that he looked a little bit different than he did in some of those past pictures, and they were asking me if I thought he had been replaced or not. I don't know, but again, we've been seeing this recurring theme all over the place, not just here in Canada, but around the world. Somebody saying, yeah, exactly. So
the moon card is a deeply secretive and something going on there that is very mysterious, and could have even been left the earth plane. And that came up as him. So
So for the audience members, this is the point of the conversation here. We're not bad-mouthing anybody. We're just trying to stay vigilant and figure out, hey, if we're going to change into another power structure that is there on behalf of the people, for the people, right? That's what the truckers are asking for here, really. At the end of the day, they're asking to parlay in front of Parliament, and the Parliament doesn't want to talk to them, doesn't want even to recognize them. So we want to make sure that if we do transition this power, that we go back to some type of democracy that makes sense. Whereas Mr. Trudeau is saying that the truckers are infringing upon democracy. And I would say, well, maybe they're infringing upon dictatorship style of democracy. That's a whole other news story. But anyway, okay. So let's ask this question here for Canada specifically. And somebody asked me the question today, JC, who's going to be in power a month from now? And I honestly didn't know the answer. Right. So the lawyers today for the trucker convoy said, hey, listen, there's reports out there that the truckers are asking for Trudeau to be removed, blah, blah, blah. He says, that's absolutely not true. We haven't asked that. The only thing that we're asking is for all of these mandates to be removed. That's it. That's their stance. So he said, anybody else who's inferring that the truckers are asking for Trudeau to be removed or any other things on the political landscape or constitutional landscape is just not true. So that's, go watch it from them. It's on their own Instagram page. Now, I thought that was interesting because a lot of people are asking me, okay, well, what happens if the government falls right now, or if it falls in a weird way? Because again, we've got astrological dates here that are suggesting that maybe big revelations are about to hit. What happens with those revelations? What do the people of Canada do with those revelations? And do those revelations make this government null and void? Anything born out of fraud is notwithstanding in the eyes of the law. So could we get to a situation where we don't recognize the governance system from here in 30 days? Some have suggested that if London Bridge does in fact fall, you and I have talked about this, that it could basically dissolve the Commonwealth. We are a country of the Commonwealth. What happens after that? Who do our leaders take allegiance to after that happens, right? You remember the allegiance that our prime minister takes to be a faithful servant to the Queen. So all of this is in the realm here of possibility in terms of change. And I want to remind you again, in some of Cliff High's Webbot data, he was saying that in the next 5 years, we would have so much change that it would eclipse all the change that happened in the last 1,000 years. So in the next 5 years, as much change as has happened to humanity in 1,000 years. That's what we're heading into. So let's ask the cards here in the context of all this, the players being put around, the backstabbing, all the political jockeying and all that. Where is Canada going to be in their governance structures? Are we going to be in the same old system with a bunch of new players pretending to continue the game? Or are we in fact in line for a much bigger change?
That's a great question. I feel like it's still up in the air. That's still up to us to decide. Mm-hmm. I think it's being placed back in our hands. And so we need to be careful. This guy's very careful. Okay, because they're going to try to hang on. Some old power structures are going to try to hang on. And meanwhile, a whole bunch of them are just puppeted. And we know they were puppeted by the bad guys in the past, but now they're actually being puppeted by what we think are the good guys. You know, so far what I've been getting in the cards were the good guys. Mm-hmm. Okay, so now we've got this, but it is confusing because the good guys are pulling a lot of the tricks the bad guys were pulling. So it's all getting very confusing. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's still up for grabs. That's still to be determined. This 5 says we're still duking that out. And that's why it's so important right now. If we want a whole new system, we have to stay absolutely awake and pay attention because there could be trickery if we don't watch it. Yeah. So we got to stay really awake right now and aware and notice everything about who's who. And we're going to need to, like somebody was putting up on the screen there, wipe the slate clean and start with a whole new system that actually looks like democracy. Okay. Yeah.
Well, Jennifer is asking, hey, well, first of all, Ash Nix, powerful question, JC. Thanks. Let me bring that up on the screen. Thank you. Appreciate that. And this is the context of the show here. And again, this is why I'm asking the audience members to maybe put their political stripe or allegiance aside here for just a moment. You might be conservative and you're happy that Trudeau's leaving or that he's weakened at this point. I get it. But really at this point, if we have a chance to bring back power to the people, do we want the same system in place that led us here in the first place, right? So are these new players valid enough for us to trust them to bring us to a better place? That's really the question. And do we want that? What do we want as humans? Mm-hmm. This is why we're having these conversations. Go ahead, Jenny.
I asked the universe to give us advice on what to shoot for. And this is a whole new birth of something. We have to birth something totally different. This card bursts and more heart-centered, loving, and a whole new ball game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's gonna. Yeah, and then this card's right under it. Yeah, we need a whole new thing that has nothing to do with the old bosses and or the old ways. That structure is what got us into this in the first place. It's all tarnished. Get it out of here.
Yeah. Well, okay. So that leads us into this next segment. And again, we didn't plan this way. We're just reading the cards and we're asking the questions in the order that they present themselves. You said in the second last pull that the stakes were really high here. Let's explain why those stakes are really high. You got a bunch of stuff in the mail today, so did I, in the fact that, let's call them the bad guys, to not use the C word here, but the bad guys around the world right now absolutely want to protect Ottawa. The gist of it is because if Ottawa falls right now, all of the rest of the bad guys fall behind them. Yeah. And this, again, is in line with what Cliff High had said. Something in North America would happen. We didn't know where at the time. And once it did, it would flash out around the world very, very quickly. And we're seeing evidence of that already. And this is why perhaps they're being so strong-headed about what's happening right now in Ottawa. Can you explain that to the audience? Maybe use code words here also. Don't name names. Just to see what the context of that was and why it's so crucial that we have this conversation right now.
Somebody sent me a bunch of screenshots that unfortunately I couldn't share them. It was too hard to work with, and we didn't have enough time right at the end. But it was basically laying out how the I got to be careful with so the globalists, we'll call them.
Sure.
Yeah, so we know Trudeau's tied to that bunch. So the bunch that would, like go to those secret meetings and, try to control the whole world, that bunch. Okay, so they need him to stay no matter what. It's not about him and it's not about Canada, because of course they don't care about Canada. Mm-hmm. It's about the world. So if this falls, all the dominoes go down. He's the kingpin, and of course he's very weak right now. Yeah. But that's why at all cost they're tooth and nail. But now you got to take into consideration that I've been getting that was the plan, and he was the kingpin. But I think he's rounded up. So now you got to add that. So in the movie we're watching, he's the kingpin still, and if he goes down, they all go down. But that could be the movie we're watching at this point. But that was the plan. That's what I get.
Mm-hmm. And it makes sense then that some of those holdouts to these organizations, Mr. Global, as Catherine Austin Fitz likes to call them, I think that's fair enough and safe for Google, for YouTube. But yeah, Mr. Global and the holdouts, they see right now what you're saying, that Ottawa could be that last spark here that really dissolves them very quickly. So that's why there's all this pressure here. And it's not just tactical, physical pressure, intimidation in terms of the cops and these rules and the stealing of the petroleum and the kids. Oh, that's the other thing too. They're trying to take their kids away here today too.
Kids, yeah.
CBC was just roasted by a bunch of people live. How shameful it was for them to even report that.
That was so brilliant. What that woman did, I shared it everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stuff like that everywhere. That needs to be everywhere.
Oh yeah. Go check it out. It's on my Twitter, guys, as well. Yeah, so they're putting all of these tactics, but what we need to understand also is they're putting all of these tactics at a much higher level also. Etherically, energetically, we're being attacked on all of these fronts at the same time. So what's happening in Ottawa is not what you just see with your sense, your five, or hear and feel with your five senses. It's also at a much, much higher level. Can you speak to that? I know for myself, I did feel a lot of that. I explained to the audience that there were some weird people like Agent Smiths kind of going into regular people to talk to me on the Hill the other day, and I kind of recognized them as the machine trying to influence me. Talk about how some people just watching the news even today are also being affected on this energetic level or this etheric level to try to scare them into submission or to try to scare them for the change that's coming again. A lot of people here are looking forward to the change, but a lot of people are very fearful. Explain that to the audience, Janine.
Yeah, well, I think it's really heated up. It's gone to a crescendo once again. It's been at these crescendos, but this is one of the highest ones. Mm-hmm. I was feeling the really high vibe today, but actually I was riding it. I like danger a bit or something. Mm-hmm. Being a Scorpio moon, drama's kind of fun. You know what I mean? As long as it's not, I don't want personal drama in my life, but the drama of everything that's going on. And also I got to go to a restaurant and sit down today in a restaurant without being asked for papers.
Wow.
Gotta tell you, so that happened at midnight last night.
Yeah.
They took all that you have to show your papers thing, which was so much fun because I love going to restaurants and coffee shops, and I get bored stiff cooking every night for myself. That's just too boring, and it's just way more fun. I mean, to mix it up a little, right? So that really made me in a good mood. Also, I waltzed in everywhere, of course, without a mask, and if I saw anybody who was wearing one, I told them, didn't you get the memo?
Here it is, the premiere right there. I told you they're scrapping it as of midnight tonight, and I think their last thing is coming off at the end of the month also with them. And I was asking Mr. Ford here, hey, opportunity knocks, Mr. Ford, look at what's happening with your colleagues across the country. PEI might be next as well. I'm hearing rumblings there. But today, Doug Ford didn't come out to speak to people. He sent out his Minister of Health to say that for now, they have no plans to scrap anything. So the for now was there, and I tweeted this back. Well, just wait. For now, just wait. But somebody reminded me today, and I thought it was absolutely amazing. So I'll bring this up without telling you who it was. But they said to me, basically, the tactic of him not going out to say I'm not scrapping it was that because they've already made the decision, they're about to scrap it, but for now they're still stalling for time, and they sent somebody else to leave that message so that when Ford has to come out, he doesn't look like a flip-flopper, right? Yeah. He can't go one day saying we're not doing it, and then the next day we're doing it.
Hilarious, even though they've done that exact thing.
Oh, yeah, he's done that a few times, but not in a short period of time, like the vaccine passport thing where it's a couple months ago and then he eventually flipped. But this could be days or hours in between here from the flip-flop if the pressure continues to be exerted upon them as it is now. So, I
wonder if we should ask what is the game plan really? Not what they're putting out there, but what do they actually got planned?
For who specifically?
The bad guys. What do they got planned?
Sure, let's do it.
Because it looks like some of the stuff they're putting out there isn't actually maybe they have a whole nother devious plan.
And we'll get into that other video here about the BitChute video. Let me bring this up here for a second. These lovely two women here, this fall of the CAB something AL. So yes, go check them out here on BitChute. So we'll get into this here in the next segment. So what is the plan of these Mr. Global right now? And Eve says, Janine, you look extra beautiful tonight.
So sweet.
I love the purple too. I love the purple.
This is really funny. Okay, this is really okay. I think the real bad guys are disappointed and stressed. Okay, so if that was even if they really are in charge, which I don't think they are, this is what's really happening with the bad guys. Okay, disappointed and stressed, and trying to cause fear. So we've got the Queen of Pentacles and the Six of Cups. Both of these were upside down. So the Queen of Pentacles upside down. Waiting for something, but a false something. So, and then this card was next to it. So I feel like the plan is to scare everybody, like we're all waiting for when's the next shoe going to drop? Because we all saw what happened in the US on January 6th. We all saw that. So everybody's expecting that. And it's almost like getting the fear. They're hoping that sort of has some kind of effect on everybody. So it feels like that's their last tactic. And then inevitably, they actually don't have anything they really can do. This card says they stay safe. They're staying safe and just hanging on. So they're going to hang on for, I'm thinking 4 more days where they just don't make a decision and just drive you crazy. But like you said, they probably already made the decision. The deal's been made in the background already. Maybe they just didn't tell the truckers, but the deal's been made and the movie's already set. So I'm thinking we're watching a big old movie, you guys. Yeah. So here's the overview. Okay. So everybody you're watching's already made deals with the people actually running the show, and the whole thing, there's a hidden agenda. It's got nothing. It's very psychological. It's got nothing to do with what you think you're watching. So we think we're the bad guys and the good guys. Right now, it's the bad guys capitulated and they're being puppeted by the good guys. That's what I get. I'm hoping I'm right, but that's what I get. And it's all a big movie, and they're watching how you react. How much do you notice? Does somebody spread that drop that dropped on? Like, does that get spread? Do people start looking on? Like, we need to stay vigilant, and they're watching us to make sure we do.
Right. Okay, let's get into this video clip here for the audience. Let me bring that down also in the live chat. And this alludes to what Janine and I were talking about last week when we heard the political rumblings here in Canada. We heard the opposition finally get into high gear and ask the Prime Minister to end all of the mandates. They kicked out their leader. And now they're in a leadership race. And when I saw that, I saw a few people call me, yeah, GC, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, hold on a second. I'm not ready to party just now. And I thought maybe I was just tired. Maybe it was just all this weird energy. Maybe I was just too cold, freezing my ass on Parliament Hill. But I wasn't in the mood to party at all. And part of me was because, well, wait a second. Again, changing the chairs on the deck of the Titanic, moving them around, doesn't change the fact that the Titanic is sinking. And this is what these girls are saying here. Even if this narrative ends tomorrow, and we just saw Alberta last night, we could see other provinces here tomorrow. But even if this ends tomorrow, the war isn't over. These guys who are behind this thing have many more plans to lead us into that same direction where they're in total control, where we own nothing and we're happy. And they have many mechanisms to do that. We're seeing now the introduction of this new narrative about HIV now in Europe. This might be one of the tactics. We know also that they might be pulling the ET card very, very soon. Yes, see, we're talking about the ETs on the screen now as well. But these ladies are saying, yes, even if that ends, we need to stay vigilant and continue the fight here because those guys are not stopping because the narrative will end.
Exactly.
Let's pull some cards on that, Janine. What can universe support in this message here? And guys, you can go and watch that video. But to try to explain that to the audience here watching tonight, that it's not enough at this point to just end the mandates. If we want truly our freedom and our power back, we need to work and go much, much further than just dropping the vaccines.
I think we're in a really tricky spot right now. We're literally like slipping around on ice because we could slip back into some old patterns and end up with sort of like just a slightly different version of the other bad guys, like you said. You know what I mean? So if it looks anything like I think Canada has to be dismantled, and so does all the governments of the world dismantled all the way, because too much lies, and it's all built on lies, and it's all built on falsehoods, lies, corruption. Like there's nothing good about it left. So we have to be really, really, really careful. Don't forget to celebrate the wins, okay? But call for a whole nother world. We need to actually go through that. That card says we have to let go of this whole matrix that was created, walk out the other side, and create our whole new world. We're on that threshold. We're actually at a threshold here where we can leave behind the matrix for good. And it's really important that we stay on that track. Yeah, that's what I get. Surrender. None of it's going to stick because it can't. It's not built on any kind of good foundation. Yeah.
And we're getting into the big revelations. I don't know if you saw on BitChute, I think it was yesterday, earlier this morning, there was, I'm not sure if it was from Turkey or not, but a mainstream news outlet talking about the party substance, how it's created, and all of these actors using it. Like, I'm like, wow, could you imagine that on CBC News here? The revelations are coming. So this is what I mean about moving the chairs on the Titanic here. There's a lot more at play than just this mandate here. There's a lot more there. Folks, Cliff is in the chat. I just wanted to point out this last Wu escalation video. Go check it out if you haven't seen it. We're seeing now things heat up, and if Cliff missed the beginning of the show here, we're getting reports here in Ottawa too that perhaps the army and the police here are up to something, whether it's true or not, or whether it's a facade. There's a lot of pressure on them here to end this by any means before Saturday. At least that's what we're hearing that's coming out of the PMO. So hopefully the cooler heads will prevail. And I think so far the truckers have been absolutely, and the supporters who support the truckers on Parliament Hill have been absolutely exemplary in keeping the peace and being cool-headed and spreading the love on Parliament Hill. So I'm really, really proud of that. Hopefully that can continue to happen. And so far, even though they're being pressed and poked and prodded at every step of the way, they're keeping that frequency. So hats off to them. But in terms of this escalation, we're seeing this escalation happen around the world too. So we're seeing these rogue agents maybe doing things that they shouldn't be doing. But it's encouraging right now that we're seeing the courts, just like we saw here in Canada, address the Geneva Convention and stopped the decree that had just been put out by the Ottawa City Council. So I think things are moving forward on our side. So I'm asking the audience again to just remain calm, but be very vigilant. We're seeing a lot of these reports. So put your eyes on the target, put your cameras on the target, and keep filming. Absolutely. Janine, that was all that was on the slide deck here. I wanted to, well, for our questioning, but I wanted to bring up a couple of other things for the audience members here too. You and I had reported that the GoFundMe campaign had been frozen, and I had been asking for a week and so much now. Hey guys, can you start using crypto? Hopefully nobody can steal your money when you have your own wallets and your keys in your possession. Anyways, they started this new Give, Send, Go campaign. So let me bring that link here to replace the $10 million that was stolen from them on GoFundMe. And they're up to almost $8 million now. So guys, if you had originally supported the truckers with the previous campaign platform, you can do so now here at Give, Send, Go, or they're paying attention. Today they were talking about creating their crypto wallet, which I had on the screen a little bit earlier. Where did I miss that? Oh man, did I lost it? Wait, it's called Tallycoin. I'll find it. But Janine, let's talk about crypto here for a second. What's interesting about this revolution here and this peaceful protest, they're showing everyone how the media is corrupt, how the banking system is corrupt, and how the politicians are corrupt. They're doing an amazing job educating everybody. And as it pertains to crypto now, there was $1 million already in Bitcoin at the Tallycoin for the truckers this morning. They're showing regular people here that the government, when they don't like you, they can shut off your bank account. And actually, that's what I was showing here. This was Pat saying this morning that his bank account had been blocked. He couldn't send EMTs, email money transfers to the truckers here. So they had shut him off completely here. So what's your take here on how this will also help maybe propel and educate people and raise consciousness about this new economy that humans are about to develop for themselves, as opposed to this old financial system, which was an energy extraction matrix system?
Okay, that's exactly what they're trying to do with that. That's exactly the whole thing, Pat King going on there and saying that. It's like we're getting an education. That's the good guys. That's what I get. So this is part of the program. They're trying to program us, because we've been programmed to just take all of this stuff that's been going on. So they're kind of, I don't know how to explain it, but they're doing the kind of trying to unprogram us by programming us, programming us to pay attention, be diligent, and learn from what really becomes really obvious. Like, can get into all of that, and you don't have any rights. We're trying to show you that. Everything's trying to show you that, and it includes what they did, publicly threatening to take the kids. Okay, just even posturing like that. Okay, so that's a nod to these people take your kids.
Yeah,
they take your kids. Yeah, all over the place. So the system stuff is, well, we know the system's not safe for little ones.
Yeah, and I saw a couple of emotional videos there too of some truckers feeling the pressure. Their kids back home were being threatened by all this because they weren't there. So my heart goes out to all the parents here. It's absolutely incredible. Again, it's showing you how far the state is willing to go to keep power here, including taking your kids away from you. I have the link here, so let me bring that down. Tallyco.in, so Tallycoin, and I'll bring that link for everybody. What are they up? This is in Satoshi.
Wow.
Well, that's Satoshis. Let me bring that in US dollars. Okay, so almost 700,000 since this morning already raised in crypto for the guys. If all you crypto followers out here, you can donate in Bitcoin if you wish to the convoy here. So let me bring that link down in live chat as well. All right, so that's great news there as well. And let me see if I had anything else. Hold on. I think that's about it for tonight. Oh, this was interesting. This is the Minister of Transport on the news today, really trying to walk back the small fringe minority comments made by the premier. Absolutely laughed. Well, he didn't really mean all those people. He just meant the 2 or 3 people. No. He actually meant all of those people. Yeah. So, and again, this is the Minister of Finance, who, of course, is part and parcel the reason we're in this mess now. It was this ministry that put in place those requirements for those mandates for our truckers, and who did not want to look at, even though big companies were begging them not to do that, because our companies here, our food stores, were telling the department, hey, if you do that, we're going to have even more problems with our supply chain that we're having now. And the government's like, no, it's our way or the highway, so to speak. And this is the guy behind all of that policy. So go watch that video, guys, and you tell us if he's working on behalf of the people of Canada. And you can decide. All right, Janine, 50 minutes in. What do we do next? Do you want to take questions from the audience members? What's the energy like? Okay, let me see if I can find a few things here. Let me bring up the PayPal tip jar, guys. Oh, and I have a pyramid for you guys as well. Carla did give us a pyramid for tonight. Hold on, folks. So let me bring our PayPal tip jar up on the screen. A big thank you to everyone supporting us in that way. You make it possible for us to be out here and doing these shows here. And yes, and again, a big thank you to all the Insider Access Pass members who are giving us a break here, because we're producing so much of this content here where Janine and I and other guests are lagging behind on the pay-per-views, but we'll get back to that very shortly. So a big thank you to all of you. Okay, so let me see here what I can bring up.
Can I mention something really funny?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, it's Mr. B in the US was apparently giving away crack pipes. Did you see that one I shared?
Yeah.
So if you didn't think it was a movie, you better go check that out.
Yeah, it's absolutely funny.
Real. That's about the funniest thing. Like, there's a whole ridiculous story that goes with it. I mean, you can't make that kind of stuff up. That sounds like a white hat op if I ever heard. There's so many things like that going on. I just want people to notice that. Just share with us what you notice, because it's just out of hand, right? It's just crazy.
It's absolutely crazy. Okay, well, let me see what I have here. So are these comments or questions? Mary, great job, Jean-Claude and Janine. Love watching your shows. Thank you so much. Lillian, thank you, JC. Love you, support you. Thank you so much. Sherry, is this a question? Let's see if I can get into this one. Sherry. Okay, Janine, should I go meet 107 end of February? Thinking about going, but need your input. Have the invite? Should I go? Please help me out. Wow. Okay.
Wow. Like personally meet him, or meet him at some gathering he's going to be at?
Could be a truther event. I'm not sure. End of February. I didn't get an invite, just so you know.
Yeah, me neither.
No, okay.
He ignores me.
Well, he's been wrong on quite a few dates already in the last year. So it's always this date and that date and that date. And some people are probably long in the tooth, but who knows? He might eventually be right on some of it, at least. We'll see.
Well, I think they should go for sure. I think they'll get a clearer idea about who he is exactly and what he does.
Okay.
And they might even get an up close look at the disguise he's probably wearing.
Mm-hmm.
Because anytime I've ever seen any up close photos, it definitely looks like he's got all kinds of weird padding and disguise going on. So that'd be fun to get an insider's view on that. Maybe some snapshots. I think he's kind of planted misinformation sometimes, and look, he's got a real part in the movie for sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. And getting everybody to hurry up and wait, getting everybody to calm down. And it's like the stuff he spins is very interesting, but and he's mesmerizing if you listen, if you can have the patience to listen to his whole spiel that he goes through. You know what I mean? Yeah, because look at the cards that are around who he is. So he's not who he says he is, but then he never really tells us who he is anyway. Now he's driving around in some hot rod car. I mean, what?
He's been doing that for a while, though.
And he's always bragging about how many cars he has, and he flies all over so he's obviously an elite. Do you know what I mean? And I think he's actually connected to the family. I mean, one of the big families,
Mm-hmm.
JFK type families. I don't think he's him, but he's connected to the family for sure. That's what I get. But anyway, so he's placed in there And he's got a reason why he does what he does. And it probably has nothing to do with actual intel. So yeah, you should go just to get your view on that and let us know what you make of it.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can log into my Discord. Sorry, guys, it's a lot on my deck tonight. So if you guys are in the Discord from the Insider Access Pass, let me see if I can find some questions from you as well. So, okay, I'm just logged in now. I'm going to scan for that now. In the meantime, I have 2 more questions here. Let me see if it was the first one. Maureen, let me see if I can bring that one back up. Maureen, did I read this already? Love you guys. Thank you, Tammy. Sounds crazy, but okay. So thank you, Maureen, and thank you, Tammy. Tammy says, sounds crazy, but a huge ship came out of nowhere on December 27th last year before dawn. It was right outside my window above me. It was so close I felt I could throw a ball at it. Can you tell me who and maybe what their message was for me? So, big ship last year, December 27th for Tammy. What was the message?
No, she definitely got a visit in a loving way. So she looks like she's connected to the group that were lovingly visiting her. She might even have a connection, like literally like a loved one, or is from where they're from. Yeah, or in a past life she could have been. Like, so she could have connections there, like bloodline connections there. Right. So off-worlders and or other entities, non-human maybe, and then she has actual connections to them. Okay, she might even have a loved one, so a connection like that where she spends time in both places. So she invited it, so they came and answered an invite. So she had a yearning or a draw, like this manifest. She manifested the visit. And she was visited by literally some of her relatives. So she's connected to wherever they're from.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And a male energy in particular, she knows them. They might have spent time or a lifetime together or something like that.
Wow.
She literally knows who was in that ship.
So that was Tammy. Wow. Okay, that's cool. So 2 things with the pyramid. So let me bring up the pyramid that is in the. Wait a second. Where did you go? Right here. Okay. Guys, let me see if I can bring this up. Okay, so this is our pyramid for tonight from Carla, and the name of this pyramid is Giselle.
Hi everyone, this is Carla from Ascension Organites, and today I have for you the beautiful Giselle. So Giselle was originally a custom order very similar to Agatha, which is the black and gold pyramid that calls to Egyptian energies. Giselle is very similar. The difference between them is that she has black obsidian crystals along with the brass metals and the flower of life in gold. So as you know, we've spoken about black obsidian before. It's a great protective stone against psychic attacks, negative feelings, negative energies. Also amazing for concentration and focus. So Giselle will be a great piece to put in your workspace or your office, anywhere where you need concentration. I'll give her a quick turnaround so you can see her. And there she is. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon. Bye.
Thank you so much, Carla. And guys, if you're looking at getting some of these beautiful creations in your own possession, you can save 10% here by using coupon code BeyondMystic. And you can find Carla now on her new website at ascensionorganites.com. She's moved over to Etsy, but if you have the link from Etsy on that main page, you'll also see the link to get to her new website. And while I bring that up, Ascension Organite, yes, there you go. Carla also sent me an email today to say that last week's winner, Phoebe Wellburn, has not yet responded to her email. So Phoebe, if you're watching the show tonight and you haven't had the email from Carla, I was copied on that. I said I'd go through. Perhaps it's in your spam. And if it's not in your spam, just email me and we'll get you in contact with Carla so that she can mail you last week's winning pyramid. And of course, this is ascensionorganites.com. Let me bring that link back down to the chat for you guys as well. Okay. Another note for tonight, we have the silver giveaway here that Janine and I had put together a couple of weeks ago. We were giving away 2 100-ounce bars, one on the Canadian side here. This is the Royal Canadian Mint 100-ounce bars. The contest is still open, and this is the point here. I was originally going to announce the winners tonight on February 9th, but in the last 2 days, something happened in the back end where people couldn't submit to the form. And so everybody was asking me, hey, can you make a message of this, fix the problem, and add another day here to the contest? So I have done that. So guys, if you want to enter this draw for this 100-ounce bar, if you're Canadian, please do go to beyondmystic.net/silver-Canada. So let me bring that link down. It's in the description box also. And if you're on the American side of our audience, this is the 100-ounce PAMP Swiss bar, also here in a giveaway. So again, no purchase necessary. Just fill out the form with your address and your email so we know where to mail it to you if you're the lucky winner. Now, in terms of announcing the winner, so let me bring that one down. That's silver-USA, the link to enter this draw. So this is also now in the live chat. I will be announcing the winner on Friday. Yes, that's confirmed now with Bix Weir and Andy Sheckman. This is going to be on our 6 o'clock show just before the Wacky Woo with JSNIP 4. So you still have 2 days, actually, up until Friday, maybe noon here. I'll shut the forms down and we'll have the automatic draw, pick up the names here from the 2 libraries of entries. Okay, so congratulations in advance to you winners, and I look forward to announcing you lucky guys here on Friday. Janine, let me go back to my insider access pass. What time do we have now? Okay, we're at the end of our remark. Okay, Laura B, thanks for all you do. Looking for okay. Could you tell us if the RV, let's call it that for now, this is how it's questioned, will happen before the end of February? This is from Laura B in the Discord channel.
That one just popped out while I was doing it. So we'll get to that in a minute because that's all new territory and they're looking at or like that's almost like a yes itself because he's holding one wand there. But let's hang on. It's interesting that it just popped out.
Yeah.
Okay, now I got yes. And this could, like, it can be an off-worlder, but it's also about vulnerability. So I think they've been being careful because there was some vulnerability about doing it various different times they had planned. I've been getting that a lot where they're looking at the best date, but they don't want to make either people receiving the funds vulnerable or the funds themselves vulnerable. So every time they perceive that they're it's vulnerable, to the bad guys trying to get it all,
yeah.
They shut it all down. This is what we've been hearing. Okay, so yeah, see, I'm trying to get a date here. Hang on. I mean, dates don't always, they come and go, but let's see what we can get right now. What's the projected date right now? So no, it's not, doesn't even want to tell. Every day they look at it. So it's all ready to go with that Ace of Pentacles. It's a thing and it's ready to go, but it's every day they're looking at it. So the Fool. So you got to be at the right place at the right time with that card. So that means they're looking at it every day, but it's been vulnerable to various different potential attacks or something.
Right. People in the chat are putting the 2222s up there. And yeah, who knows? It could be, astrologically speaking, if you've watched the last Astro Woo report, it could be one of those critical dates here on February 20th as it pertains to this US Pluto return and the birth and rebirth, death and rebirth here of our system. So it could be. We're missing 2 slides. I'll also see if I can bring this back up. Janine, can we talk about the 19 here very shortly? Can you set this up for the audience here? This, as it pertains to alignments, could be the consequences of the trucker convoy. Can you explain that to the audience here? Maybe we can pull some cards on that also.
Yeah, it could be where you finally get the conclusion of, and the truckers agree to go home with whatever that comes out of it, which we should maybe look again what that'll be. Just to double check what are we getting now? Because when we first looked at it, it didn't look like they were going to roust out Mr. T, Canadian Mr. T. But it did look like they'd get things shut down, like on the whole. false medical emergency thing.
Right.
Right. So the mandates, that's the word.
Okay.
It
Okay.
did look like that. So let's see if that's still what they're going to. So now they're saying, and so at that time, I believed as well that the truckers were looking for him to resign. But apparently, officially, that's not what they're saying.
No, the truckers have not asked that, and legal counselors for the truckers today in a press conference said too, no, they've never asked that. So if the media is portraying it that way, the truckers have not asked that.
And I was fooled to that too. And the reason I think they wouldn't ask for that is because then they could be considered an occupation.
Yeah.
That's probably legally why they decided to clarify that, right?
Mm-hmm. No, but the media has been fabricating stories.
They have been, So this should really call out the media too. But I'm going to tell you, I shared some videos of the truckers to some family members, and they told me to stop sending them those videos, and that those guys were all, basically what Mr. Canadian Mr. T called them.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're convinced that they are. These are intelligent people, I used to think.
Mm-hmm.
So now, again, I'm not speaking to half my family again. It's just a mess.
Yeah. Violet Biggs here, just on the previous question, was saying that the 19 with a critical date. Yes, we just brought up that slide. And there's also this one, before you pull the cards, Janine, here, February 11th, this Mercury-Pluto conjunction, that is also spelling out revelations of political secrets, the powers in place, the financial secrets of all of this. So we're curious as to what perhaps that might be. And there might be tie-ins also to the little black book here that is about to come out in a big way from the Ghislaine Maxwell camp. So a fascinating date to watch also here, the February 11th, and that could possibly further usurp some of the powers and the legitimacy of the remaining powers that were. Janine, so let's go back to, will the truckers be successful here in their request?
So this is right now. So they feel like they haven't been, because he hasn't even come to talk to them. Here's the Trudeau team, or at least I don't even think he's a team because he doesn't seem like anybody's on his side, frankly. Okay, so here's his globalist people or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
At least in the movie, it's also confusing. But if he was real, that's where he's going with it. Okay, so they're in a lot of trouble. All that they have left is threats and innuendos. They got nothing, you guys. They got nothing. You'd need to see the devil. You'd need to see the Hierophant, or you'd need to see a major arcana card if they had any of that clout they've been saying they got.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just, they're putting it out there to scare those guys, so hoping they'll just hightail it, which of course they won't. Okay, and here's the truckers. Truckers are going to win. Okay, they're going to get what they feel like is they're a victory. They're going to do a victory lap. Okay, and here's the outcome. Those are brilliant cards. Victory lap. I think the financial stuff all changes right after they victory lap. I think the financial stuff all goes down too right after that. So,
wow, it's going to be an interesting month, that's for sure. Going back to the silver, a couple of questions there. So yes, still Friday, the form is still on. Oh yes, I think it was Sandra who was asking the technical issues for some people entering the forms to enter for this 200-ounce silver draw. For some people, they couldn't do it on their cell phones, but as soon as they tried on their PC or laptop or whatever desktop, it was working. So if you're trying this form again here in the next 2 days before we end the draw on Friday, maybe try not to do it on your phone. If it's not working, just try another device. There might still be some bugs for some reason with some of the cell phone carriers that I'm not aware of. So thank you. I think it was Sandra who was mentioning that. Okay, Janine, 108. One more question from the Insider Access group. Do you have time? What do you think? Okay, let me see if I can pick one up here.
I had a Vietnamese coffee before I got on here, so
you got all the caffeine. Okay, I'm running on
caffeine and sugar. I know I shouldn't.
I've had 3 back-to-back conference calls today, plus this one. I'm completely swamped. I can't wait to take a little bit of a break. Okay, Sue Johnson. Sue Johnson. I'm hoping that Mr. B is removed from office before President's Day so we can celebrate with our real president. Sue Johnson. It's not really a question, but let's see. Does that make sense? Could that be in the cards?
Well, let's see if her desire will be fulfilled.
Okay, that's a great way to put it.
That's a desire. So she's putting it out there.
That's a good way to put it. Okay.
So what was the date again she wanted that done by?
She said before President's Day.
When's that?
I have no idea. Let me see. USA President's Day.
Making you work. Making you work.
Does it say? President's Day is celebrated on the third Monday in February. Okay, so third Monday in February. So first Monday of February would have been the 7th. Would have been the first, second. So the 21st, I guess. If I'm doing that right, guys, I'm not American, but I believe it's, so from San Jose, Feb 21st. So will Mr. B be removed before Feb 21st?
It's close. It's close. Okay, he'll be really close. Too. He'll be and it technically probably is already, because this card says he's already. It's a facade that he's even there. This card says very unique situation. There's her actual president's already there. Okay, we kind of know that, right? Yeah. So he's already there. It's just hidden and cloaked, right? Okay, interesting. But I think within maybe weeks of that, or within the month, even you could say, or 1 month from that time. So we're close, but it's not right on that date, I don't think.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
It's actually saying he's already there. There's a lot of evidence that all of the military answers to in their emails and whatnot, he's still on there as their head, not Mr. B. He never got handed the reins of the military. So it's pretty interesting situation. And that's what this says. It's a very unique situation. And it's all a facade that Mr. B has any power. I don't believe he does. And, so it's complicated.
It's complicated. Okay. Somebody in the chat, Laura B, where's the tip jar? Okay, I just put it back in the link. So thank you, Laura B, for that. And somebody, Darina Jordanova. Wow, that's a beautiful name. You guys, can we meet in Ottawa for a big party? Yeah, okay, that would be fun. Sure, that or Mexico. Apparently, Janine's manifesting a New Mexico or Mexico trip. Yeah, absolutely.
It has to be warm if I'm
going. Palm trees and salty air. I want a beach. Yeah, I want to go scuba diving and relax with the fishies. Okay, Janine, tomorrow night, you and I are doing this really cool new adventure. Let me put it this way for now. We're excited about this new adventure here called The Great Awakening. We have a mystery guest that will be joining us tomorrow. Janine and I usually do all of our shows pretty much live, ad lib. We just go with the flow. We have a few slide deck items. This one, though, has been keeping us at night. We want to do it right. Some of the topics are difficult, I guess, to broach. Some of that might be triggering for some of the audience. But at the end of the day, I think our intention, I know my intention is pure, and I believe that what we're trying to accomplish here is going to be a service to humanity. And although we know there's risk and that some people might be triggered by some of the content, we feel that it would be a disservice to not do this interview. Yeah. Janine, how can you navigate that a little bit here and share your thoughts and why perhaps people should tune in tomorrow night at 8:00 Eastern?
Yeah, it's very timely. It's very much about kind of areas we're definitely going to get more involved in just as a human race. And I just think it's necessary to sort of clear the air on some things even. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm super excited about it.
Okay. Well, there you go, folks. That's it for now. It's a sneak peek, but that's not much to go on. But although you get it, it's a little. Yeah. It could be a little bit difficult. Yeah. And again, we're trying to do it in a responsible way. And when Joe Rogan put out his video last week, he says, "Listen, I don't know all of the truth. I'm just a guy who's trying to figure out the truth. So I bring people on to have conversations to try to get to the truth, right? Yeah. That's what humans are supposed to do. We are in this woo now. We're in this phase of discovery, and I cannot stand for limited hangouts, and I cannot stand for people telling me who I should or should not interview. I don't stand for that. And I agree that some people have different opinions than myself, and I don't have a problem bringing them on the show because I can learn from them. And I hope that you, the audience, can also learn from them, and to remove that idea of either the cognitive dissonance preventing you from absorbing new information, or perhaps past programs or triggers, again, that would prevent you from even looking at new information and new ways of thinking. So this is, since the offset, the reason behind my show. So tomorrow we're going to dive into a little bit more of some, I guess, muddied waters, but hopefully, again, for the highest good of humanity. So please join us at 8 o'clock Eastern tomorrow night. In the meantime, guys, you can follow Janine here at Tarot by Janine on YouTube, and also on her Sending Ravens. This was another live report of the Siege of Ottawa, Freedom Convoy, and special updates with Janine and Jean-Claude. I love you guys. Have a great evening, and a big thank you again to all of you in the PayPal chip jar. I absolutely love you guys. And to whoever that winner was from last week, please check your email if you're watching this now. Phoebe Wellburn, we have a pyramid that we want to send out to you guys. All right, that's it for tonight. I love you guys. Take care, and we'll see you soon. Au revoir.
Au revoir.